It's great to see so many people here, and really great to see how strong A.W.A.R.E has been and carries on the strength of the board and the work it continues to do. And I guess I'm up first by default because the very first president, Bart Imler, is no longer living in Whistler. I'm not sure where Bart went, but his partner, Christine Wilding, still does live here. She was the original vice president. I was on the founding board of A.W.A.R.E and became president in 1990. And the issue of the day, the issue that we all got together on, was to start recycling here in Whistler. There was nothing, the resort was starting, you know, the village had started construction in 1979, 78, 79, and things were really going off here. It was a panic, and as a reaction to that and all the waste that was being generated, and don't forget, we had a landfill here, and you could see firsthand, right up close, how much waste was being created. And there was a big panic in the environmental movement about landfills and that whatnot. So we organized the first, Liz Scroggins, I don't know if Liz made it here, she's back living in Whistler, organized the first volunteer recycling drop-off days. We did one on Earth Day right in front of the conference center. But we ended up moving to weekly recycling drop-offs up at the old Rainbow site. And it was quite an affair. We had lots of people out, lots of very strong response. But we quickly evolved. Remember, well, you probably don't remember, but at the end of the 80s, Whistler went through an official community plan review. It was very controversial because the town forefathers had decided 45,000 bed units was how big the town was going to be. And we were halfway built, we were about 26,000. And people were saying, oh my gosh, there were 8 cranes, literally. The crane, remember Alex, we talked about the crane meter in the village. 8 cranes, things were going up so fast it was making our head spin. So we quickly shifted into land use and development and saving wetlands. 2 really grateful, big shout out to Bob Eakins and Scott Fennell, who started the Wetlands Awareness Campaign, which led to the biggest battle and the longest public hearing in Whistler's history on the Nick North Golf Course. I think it was about 7 or 8 hours of public hearing. Pretty much everybody who lived here spoke. But we lost 7-0. It was really, really heartbreaking. We did manage through that exercise to save about 72 acres of the most, I guess, the most sensitive wetland in the river corridor. But the golf course is where it is today. There's a couple, I think they built some bird nesting houses there, but they've long since been abandoned. The other big issues of the day were logging. BC was ferociously overcutting its forests. Anybody's worked in forestry knows there's all these great acronyms, the LRSY, long run, sustained, yield. And there was this guy who used to sit in Victoria and decide how much wood they could cut sustainably. Well, of course it was 50 or 100% more than it could have been. So we were in a panic to try and save the old growth around Whistler, but also speak up on behalf of British Columbians. So those are the 3. I'll close off by saying it was heady times, it was great, it felt really satisfying. A.W.A.R.E became the largest local community group. There was only one other that I could think of. Again, I'm looking to Alex. I think it was the Alpha Lake ratepayers. Paul Burrows ran a thing that complained about taxes. But after that, there was no other community groups because it was all about development here, and the late 80s, early 90s was about Whistler's community finding its voice. But we were persona non grata at Municipal Hall. In fact, the mayor in the early 90s forbade municipal employees from becoming members of A.W.A.R.E. They could be disciplined for such. And what is really interesting, and I think A.W.A.R.E changed the course of Whistler's history. It was 1996, we had an opportunity to see the back end of the mayor that was, and welcome in Hugh O'Reilly, who was at the day the A.W.A.R.E rep, who sat in all the A.W.A.R.E meetings, and we knew was going to take action on behalf of the environment. And he did, and yeah, we we actually kept accelerating from there, but that's a story for other presidents. So I'll thank you for your attention. Hopefully we won't go on too long. Enjoy your evening.